I used to trade so often that I would blow an account within a week because you'd have a losing week. So with this, even though I am trading less, like I might lose three trades in a row, I know that it only takes one trade to go all the way back up. So that kind of helps me cope with it. That's why I don't rush. That's why I just wait.
All right, welcome everyone to another trading view. This time I got Abdul with me right here. He's a funded trader with the 5ers. He currently have a 125K high stakes account that he recently scaled. And if you got multiple payouts on this as well, pretty good, like four
Yeah.
four payouts, I believe. So Abdul, welcome, and
Thank you.
let the tell the viewers a little bit about yourself, how you got into trading, and maybe something about the style of trading that you're doing.
Yeah, sure. So I'm 23 as you know. I got into trading late 2019. I think it was around November. So that's when I started to obviously figure out what trading was. What actually, brought me to trading was I took a gap year from college, after college. I didn't really know what I wanted to really do. So I thought, you know what, instead of just jumping onto uni, I'll just take a gap year, see what to do. So that led me to working full time at a retail store. I'd wake up like every morning from 6 a.m. to 3 p.m., 4 days a week. And I thought, you know what, surely this like can't be it. I need to see what else is out there for me. It is a gap here, so I might as well try everything out. So I came across trading and then I thought, you know what, this could work. I really like the idea how you can just make money from your phone or from your laptop. And I thought, yeah, this is it. So I started to study late 2019. First year and a half was just studying. There wasn't really any trading going on. It's only recently, the last 2 years, that I've started to trade prop firms, stuff like that. My trading style is swing trading now. I think that's what I've settled on. Before it would be uh, day trading every day, but I really didn't like how it affected me psychologically. So I thought, you know what, I need to decide what's best for me, and I thought swing's the best. Yeah,
Nice. Yeah, I like that. I like to do that. You go with swing trading instead of day trading because it's affecting you, too negatively,
yeah,
emotionally. I mean, that there's a lot of stress with day trading. A lot of people, when they say day trading, they think, scalping as well, and getting in and out of positions quickly, and managing trades. I think that's a big one. You have to spend a lot of time looking at the screens and managing the trades. And I'm a swing trader as well, so I love the idea of getting a signal,
yeah,
entering the orders, and then just relaxing.
yeah,
Do whatever.
100%. Yeah, yeah,
Go
yeah,
to the beach. Do go out for a walk, whatever. Just knowing that you're making money while not
beautiful. Yeah.
doing anything. Beautiful feeling. So you're 23. That's and how many years? How long have you been trading? Did you say?
In terms of learning to trade or as a whole, from the start, I'd say late 2019, so from November, so 3.5 years.
Oh wow! So that you're
Long, long
starting
journey,
quite
yeah.
you're starting quite early. That's impressive. I mean, you got many good years ahead of you. If you're
Yeah,
starting
100%.
this early and you're funded this early, yeah, that's amazing, dude. I really wish I started trading.
That's what they all
Uh,
say,
uh,
yeah.
yeah, I really wish I started trading this early. So that's absolutely amazing. And how long have you been funded with the 5ers? How long have you had this account?
So I've had this account since March 21st, I think.
Yeah.
But I started the 100K challenge in October last year. So it's obviously, as swing trading, it takes a long time and you want to wait for those best trades. So yeah, it took me about 5 months to actually make it past.
But I think that's reasonable anyway. Like if you day trade, swing trade, or whatever, it should take time. Like if you're going through an evaluation too quickly, you're most likely gonna blow that account. The quicker
100%.
you get it, the quicker you lose it. So if you're taking it slow and you're building up that capital, slowly but surely, I think that's definitely the right approach. Do you have is there any way for us to see your dashboard, like the 5ers
Yeah, sure.
dashboard, to look at the maybe look at I'll enable the
Share screen, yeah.
screen sharing for you. Maybe you can
Cool.
show the dashboard, and then after that, I would love to look at if you have trading views, some setup
Yeah,
examples.
sure, sure. So this is the dashboard. I've got all the accounts here. Phase one, phase two,
Nice.
This was the funded account I had before I scaled it 10% to the new account.
Well, I
Um,
love seeing that. It's there's no invalidation, like invalidated accounts. It's just you got one.
yeah.
Is this the first account you bought as well?
For 5ers, yeah, but I've had experiences previously with other firms.
Okay. But that this is beautiful, man. You're absolutely crushing it. You got an account, passed the first one, passed the second, got funded, scaling. This is a lot of people watching this and they don't have an account yet. I think this is the dream, being able to scale that account is yeah, it's pretty cool. Can we maybe go into the look at the evaluation phases, see how that went, and
Yeah,
then
sure.
we'll go like one account at a time.
We'll do phase one first. So obviously with my strategy, it's really high RR, but trade really less. So I take an average 1 to 2 trade a week max. And then
Nice.
the return would be like really minimum would be around 5 to 8. So let's have a look here. See, this was the biggest trade I had, 10 grand,
Wow.
10,793. Let me have a look here. Let's have a look at so the win rate is really low. Obviously that's with swing, because you're getting the highest RR. The total, let's have a look. So I made like a $26,000 profit gross. Obviously, you can see the losses. 18,000 average profit is quite high compared to the average loss. Playing the RR again, and you can see here the best profit is 10,793, but the biggest loss is just 1,190.
That's massive.
Yeah. So that's phase one. That phase one took me the longest to do. I think it was a winter as well. Market's really slow back then for swing, but
Yeah.
there you go. So this is phase two. Same thing here again, as you can see, best profit is quite high compared to the biggest loss. Win rate was a bit higher on this one, but the profit factor remained the same. Um, let's see what the biggest trade here was. Yeah, the biggest trade here was almost this one. So it was about $8,000.
So how would you say that the low win rate is affecting you? Because it does seem like you're like in drawdown and then get a big winner, and then it goes
Yeah.
sideways and then a big winner. How's that low win rate affecting you psychologically? Like, because you're obviously losing much more than you're winning, which is natural with the low win rate, but you can still be very profitable as you've proved. But how's that affecting you psychologically, that low win rate?
Honestly, it actually gives me a sense of peace. I'm not going to lie to you, because before when I used to trade day trading, I used to trade so often that I would literally blow an account within a week because you'd have a losing week and 2 trades a day, you're out 10% gone. So with
Mhm.
this, even though I am trading less, okay, I'm making maybe I might lose 3 trades in a row. I know that it only takes one trade to go all the way back up. So that kind of helps me cope with it. That's why I don't rush. That's why I just wait.
All right. Yeah. So you're very patient and
Yeah,
you
100%.
basically you're and you seem like a very calm person as well. Like I can
Yeah.
tell from the interview, you seem like a very chill person. So I think maybe you are you would you say that you're a good loser?
Honestly, I maybe chill now. Back then, when I used to start trading, obviously, I was losing. I was stressing all the time about losing
Yeah.
trades. I was really panicking. But I think all that high pressure that I've basically had, like I used to at one point, trade through depth as well. So all that pressure that I've actually had growing up and trading has actually kind of made my mindset into a really strong one now. Because I've been through like some rough patches. So I'm like, nothing can be as worse as that. So that's why I'm just so calm now. And I think
Yeah.
it's not entirely me as well as also the strategy that I use, because if I was day trading, I would possibly struggle a bit more. But with swing trading, you can see clearly how I'm a bit more calm because I know, listen, I can lose 3 trades in a row, but these 3 trades don't happen back to back, like immediately on the same day. I might lose one on Monday, then I might lose one next week, then I might lose one a week after, and that kind of helps you relax a little bit and calm down and not worry about or blowing your account. I think that's very important.
And I think also, trading kind of forces you to be calm, like has a very, direct way of telling you that, you look at your P&L and if you follow your,
Yeah,
mental equity, whatever, you find that when you're stressed, you're not making a lot of money. When you're calm, everything is as well. So it's kind of like you come to a point when you say, if I'm going to be continuing to be a trader, I gotta learn to accept the losses. I gotta learn to stay calm. And,
100%.
yeah, let's uh, let's take a look at the because this is the second evaluation. Let's take a look at the
Yeah,
when you got
cool.
funded.
That was pretty good, yeah. So the lowest I went, I think, if that's correct, is about 3% drawdown, I think. Not sure. Let's have a look here. Um, so yeah, on the live account, I've kind of had a different approach. Even though I'm aiming for a minimum of 5R, sometimes I do take it a bit early just to like, stack the withdrawals up a little, build a bit more confidence. Because this is possibly the first time that I've actually took that many withdrawals. Usually on my previous accounts, it'd be either immediately losing the account right after because I day trade, or not even making any profit at all. So this has been really good. Let's see the trades that I've taken here.
It looks like
Yeah.
you're are how much are you risking per trade? You're risking 1% per trade?
1% because I've thought about there's only two ways for me in terms of prop firms. Number one, you trade often, you risk less. Number two, you trade less, you risk more. Simple as that for me. So I risk 1%. And because I know that I'm most likely only going to take 1 to 2 trades a week, I know that my weekly, loss threshold's like 2%. So it's not really going to affect me anyway. Um, so yeah, I started off with a withdrawal on my first trade. So that was really good. And then I had a second trade as well, which I took another withdrawal on for 2,300.
Nice.
After that, started losing a little. But as you can see here, I started losing about 3%. I've noticed that I don't lose below 3%. That's usually when, the winner comes in. So that was the third withdrawal here. And then after that, 3% loss again, and then came through the big withdrawal here for 5,463.
So with usually with a lower win. So what's the win rate on this? If you can
Oh yeah,
scroll up,
sure.
we can take a look.
Same as that,
But
37,
but
5.
that's not bad though. Like it's almost 40%. That is not bad. Looking at the profit factor, that's quite impressive. Um, let's take a look at the one you're on currently, the scaled account.
I haven't really traded on that one, just one trade
Oh,
so
okay. So
far. So
you've just upgraded that one.
yeah.
I'm looking at the win rate and I'm thinking, I mean, statistically, there is going to come a time when you have a drawdown. It's probably more than 3 trades, you know. Um,
100%.
so how do you have any plans on when to reduce risk?
Yeah, so I think with that though, yes, statistically there would be a bigger drawdown, but the problem with that is with that swing trading and because of my average 1 to 2 trade a week, bad weeks won't destroy my account. So say there's 2 to 3 bad weeks, right, in a row where I'm losing. With the average of 1 to 2 trades a week, I'm most likely max I'd even go down to is probably -5% within those 3 weeks. So usually with say if I had a win rate of 30%, right, but I was day trading because I'm trading so often, I'm more likely to go into a huge -10% drawdown. And because one bad week can completely destroy everything. But when you spread everything out across a few months, you'll notice that since it only takes one trade to get back up anyway, it really doesn't affect it. But worst comes to worst, I do have a plan. If I do go below 5% or, I think about 5 to 8%, I might reduce it down to 500, so 0.5%.
Yeah.
Um, but still, with that, then could be, when you're down 5%, you could have a winner that's going to bring the account completely back up. And now you've missed out on the opportunity. So I think for me, my trading less is literally my risk management.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense, definitely. But also, yeah, I mean, it's good to know that you do have a plan. So, like cutting risk in half. If you see that the drawdown is bigger than you expected, cutting
100%.
risk in half is definitely will do a lot to that. But this is great. The statistics here and the evaluations and the funded account looks really good. Maybe you want to move into your actual
Yeah,
system. Maybe show us a couple examples of the way you're trading.
sure thing. Let's see. So I've actually got some here for you today. Um, So basically, with my trading, there's four things I look out for. So number one, direction. Number two, point of interest. Number three, entry. And number four, TPNSL. So this is basically the formula I follow. So now that we've got that up there, let me just remove my drawings. So this is the trade that I took to get me scaled. Actually, 1 second. No, replay it right there. So first step, direction. So I look at this leg right here, yeah? And for me to tell if it's a downtrend or uptrend, I look at breaker structures. So you can see here that there was one breaker structure there, followed by another one there, followed by another one there, followed by another one there. That's a very strong downtrend for me. I've got the direction settled. Now I'm going to look for my point of interest. Where am I going to take a trade now? Now I don't need to short it, but where am I going to short it? So because I trade trends, I now make a note of the most recent lower high and the most recent lower low. So this is it for me. Once I've got that, I'm going to bring out my Fibonacci and I'm going to drag it from the top to the bottom. And now this is where the entry comes in. So I look to enter within the 50 to 100, so I like the premium zones. But the thing I used to enter, so the point of interest is FVG, fair value gaps, because I used to trade supply and demand, and because of the subjectiveness in them, I couldn't, I don't really enjoy it as much. So I thought, you know what, shift to fair value gaps because it's a bit more objective. Because fair value gaps is really just that space there, and I wait for price to fully fill it in, not a zone or anything like that, just fully fill it in. As you can see, there was a wick there. And now that I've got the point of interest and my entry zone, now I'm going to look at entering. So what I did was I went on the 1 hour and I had a look at the wick rejection there. And my entries are basically candle patterns. So I like to look for the bearish engulfing. And if you look on the 1 hour timeframes, you can see I trade really high timeframes. I don't do 30-minute, 15-minute, none of that. So they're a bit more reliable. So I entered here off of that bearish engulfing when it was live, so when it was going down. My stop loss is always above the fair value gap, always, because I truly feel once price has filled that in, there's no reason for price to go back up there again, unless it's not gonna go down. So once I've done that, my stop loss will be above the fair value gap and my take profit. Now this is where obviously knowing trends come in. You know that in a downtrend, it will always make a lower light, right? Lower low if it's really strong. So the lower low is usually after, researching and looking through back testing is always around the 27%. For me, I always see that a lower low is formed on the 27%. So I aimed for that minus 27% take profit, but as you can see here, it came down quite rapidly, and obviously I have a minimum threshold of 5R. So I thought I'd take it just there, scale my account up instead of being a bit more greedy and going for the extra 5-8%. There you
Nice.
go.
That's a very good trader. Like, have you looked at personally, I'm very big on statistics. I go through all my trades to see what things like what would have happened if I exited all my trades at 1 hour or half an hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, whatever, or the low. So in this case on Euro CHF, have you looked at the how often do you not get those lower lows? So if you take profit like every time at the
Hmm.
0% fib, um, if that would be more profitable or less
Yeah, yeah,
profitable.
yeah. Okay. So ideally, you are correct in that, if I was to always take it on the 27%, I've seen it happen through data as well. It never sometimes doesn't always go to exact 27%. It might stop here and then reverse all the way back up. So I've seen that happen. So obviously that's why I've come through the threshold of 5% minimum, because most of the time that 5% is hit at the equal low here. So I
Yeah,
wouldn't even
okay.
need to carry on to the 27. So as long as I get my 5R, I'm happy really. That's all I
Nice,
need.
nice.
Um, yeah,
That's a good trade. That's definitely a trade that I could take as well. It's looks like a picture perfect, continuation of the trend. And I like how you're combining market structure. It's a very clean. It's market structure.
100%.
You got the horizontal levels, and you put on the fibs. And you said fair value gap. Also, I guess you've looked at ICT as well.
Yeah, so the thing with ICT as well, I've seen supply and demand. I used to use supply and demand a lot. Now I did get funded a few times with it, but it never actually made me profitable at all. And the issue with that was the zones. So I always have the saying, right? If you bring 10 traders into a room and you give them a chart layout, so you might give them this chart, and you'll tell those 10 traders, okay, draw out your supply and demand zones, versus the other 10 traders, you tell them draw out your fair value gaps. I can guarantee you the fair value gap traders would 100% all have the exact same fair value gaps because it's an objective way to look at it. They might draw a zone or whatever, but there's no denying that fair value gap is 1, 2, 3 candles and the space between them, so the gap between them. Whereas if you show someone supply and demand, you'd most likely get those 10 traders come out with zones that are a bit smaller, zones that are a bit bigger, and different places. So that's why I stick with fair value gaps now. It's just more clear and just precise and objective.
That's very interesting, actually. That's something I've been thinking about as well, just for the exact same reason, because I'm looking at supply and demand or horizontal support and resistance, and yeah, you definitely have a valid point there where it's subjective in the way you're adding the levels, but a fair value gap is always going to be based on rules, and which if you have a rule-based system and you're consistently following
Mhm.
that system, well, then you're consistent, and if you're profitable, you're consistently profitable following a
Exactly.
consistent system. So that's yeah, very it's very interesting. Do you have anything else
I've got
any other?
Yeah, I've got one more setup. So that was a winner. Let's look at a loser that I've had today. So I took this trade today. GPP order. Let me get that up. Is the exact same trade as you can see here again. Oh, it's with a 4 hour. So same thing again here as you can see we've had is literally a picture copy of the other one. But this one was a loser instead. So we had a breaker structure to the downside again, and to the downside. So what I did is I drew out the most recent lower high and the most recent lower low. So this is the range now that I trade in, okay? So obviously I then drew in my Fibonacci. I knew that I was going to target it here, and I looked for a fair value gap. Now, one thing with me is if the fair value gap gets invalidated or any point of interest gets invalidated, I never look at it again. You see some traders like to go back and keep trying. I feel like that's 100% the leeway to losing your account. If it doesn't work once, you just move on. It's much better to try a new setup than to try and go back to, the old one. So I drew a fair value gap here. Obviously, I just waited. And at that point, see here. At that point, the fair value gap was lower than, you know, the price action was actually lower than obviously the fair value gap because if it closes above it, I invalidate that trade. I don't take that. So once price was like this, I was like, okay, cool. Let's have a look in the 1 hour. And that was a really nice 4 hour, actually, sorry. And there was a really nice bearish engulfing here. So I took that there. There's a nice wick rejection as well. I put my stop loss just above the fair value gap and I was targeting around the 27, but I thought I'd take it around the 5 hour, which should be here, yeah. So it went down a little, not bad, but then as you can see right here, just came back all the way up and it was the exact same trades, picture perfect, but obviously you can't win them all.
Definitely. I mean, that's trading, especially when you have a win rate of around 50 or lower, you're gonna get, you need to get used to having
$100%.
those losers. So you talked a little bit about ICT and fair value games. So I guess did you start by looking at ICT, or where did you start when you first got interested in trading?
I started looking at, back then, like 3 years ago, it was much different than it is now. So I wasn't
Yeah.
even looking at ICT. I was just going through YouTube, just finding whoever I can find. There was really like market manipulations and stuff like that. All those, trading strategies. I was looking through all of that. So I wasted a year and a half on that. It didn't really do anything for me, but at the end of the day, it's experience.
Yeah.
Then I was just not winning. And I just thought, you know what, let me try supply and demand. So I bought a course, went on supply and demand. It started to go okay. I got funded again. So this was the second time being funded. But as soon as I got funded, I went down all the way to like 11.9% drawdown. The max was 12%. And then I just basically almost gave up. But then I brought that account back to break even and just took a 1% profit. But after that, blew the account because I was just, um, that's not the way I wanted to trade as well. So I thought, you know what, I need a break because I was getting really unlucky. I just couldn't hack it anymore. I just couldn't understand what to do. So I took an 8 month break, late 2000, actually early 2023. I thought, you know what, let me try fair value gaps. So I built this whole thing using everything I've learned, but I didn't like use a course or anything. I just used everything I've learned and I brought them into one and I've created a system that makes sense to me. And I think that's what trading really is like. It's an individual sport. Everybody, tries to go on YouTube or tries to find that strategy that's going to work out for them. But I truly believe like if you teach a strategy to someone, they won't ever 100% trade like you do because they don't have that mental factor or that mental strain that you might have in yourself, and they might, because they can't copy your psychology, they can't copy the way you trade. So I thought, now is the best time for me to build something for myself that I can actually be proud of. And then I built a strategy. I tried it out for 8 months, really good. Then I thought, you know what, now is the time to do a challenge. Came across the fivers. One thing that got me a little worried was the 3 profitable day rule. When I seen that, I thought, okay, so this is going to be a real test because I've never done anything like that. If I do pass and if I do get payouts, it's going to be proof that I've done it consistently. Because you can get lucky with one trade and make 8%, but what about the other 2 days now that you need to get 8.5%? How are you going
Yeah.
to get past those 2 days? Phase one and phase two, the fact that the fivers had both rules on those both phases, and the fact that I passed with my own strategy, it just blew my mind, and I knew I had something good here, and I just need to keep working on it.
Yeah, that's an amazing amazing feeling, right? Because it's trading's like you got your own business, you're running your own business. It's like you create something and then you're able to make money out of thin air from the thing
Yeah,
that you've created. That's probably one of the most powerful feeling in the world where you're sitting, let's say you're sitting wherever on your phone, you're able to just look at prices go up and down on your phone. You get a system that you created that fits with your personality. You click buy and you made money. It's amazing. But yeah,
incredible. Yeah,
it takes a long time to get there, obviously. And like I said, you went through many different courses and many different things to get to where you are today. And it's all about finding that one thing that works for you and your personality. And like I'm personally, I'm always developing and adapting. I think that's what you have to do as a trader.
yeah,
No, every new year is something different. I'm making, some tweaks to stop loss placement and TP placement and stuff like that. I think it's very
100%.
important that you find something that really works for you and fits your personality. And that's something everyone that I interview is basically saying the same thing. They became profitable when when it clicked. They
Yeah.
found something where it's like they can be calm. They are confident in the signals, and it works for them.
Yeah, man.
Um, do you have any? Let's say someone's watching this interview. They're thinking about getting a challenge. What
Yeah.
what what would be some of the tips that you would give to new traders looking to get a evaluation account? They start trading.
Honestly, first I'd say start small. That's the usual one where everybody says start small. Myself, I started 100K. I've never actually gone below 100K. So I'm kind of used to it now, but try and start small. And if you're going to choose, obviously, if you choose to start with the fivers, then know that those 3 profitable days are going to be very important. If you can prove to yourself that you can get past those 3 profitable days, and then also on phase one, phase two, and get yourself a payout, then you know that what you have is a consistent system, and you just need to keep working on and keep increasing. Obviously, that system is making it better. But that's what I'd advise. And just that 3 day trading rule is the first thing that's the first time I've actually done anything like that. And once you get past that hurdle and you know that, okay, I've passed, I've got an account now that's funded, and even though it's really that difficult, then you've got a good system, and then you can carry on being confident for the rest of your future trades. And I also would advise them just to make something for themselves, like create something that makes sense to them, that's unique to them, because you can't just use whatever's on there. You've got to, for instance, like direction is really subjective, right? So they've got to find a way that they can tell what direction is. Some people use support and resistance, some people use trends, some people use multiple ways. So when it comes to subjective factors in trading, they've got to find what works for them and what makes sense to them. But when it comes to objective things, obviously just follow as they are.
Yeah, that's really, yeah, that's the difference between being a systematic trader and discretionary trader. I think that's really good tips. If you and then I guess you can have the best of both worlds where you have like systematic entry triggers. That's what I
100%,
like
yeah.
having more of systematic entry triggers, but you kind of like discretionary in the way you're manage trades. All right, man.
That's the rule, yeah.
Thanks a lot for joining me here for this interview. Really appreciate it. This was a great interview, and yeah, I'm looking forward to following your process here with the fires, and I wish you all the best with your new scaled account.
Thank you. It was a pleasure talking to you too, man. Thank you.
Hi guys, so thank you very much for watching the video. Now make sure you like and subscribe, and most of all go into the YouTube and check our other content that we provide here at The 5ers. We'll see you in the next one.